I'm Duane Brummett. He's Allie Alberigo, and this is the School Owner Talk podcast. Hello, Duane Brummett here with Allie Alberigo, schoolownertalk.com. Good morning, sir, and it's a pleasure to be with you.
Yes, it's always a pleasure, Duane, to be with you. I was off for a week on vacation for my anniversary, and I missed doing our podcast and chatting with you. It's a part of my life where I kind of feel like, hey, I got to talk to Duane this week, and it's our way of, even though we live like hundreds and hundreds of miles apart, but I see you more than I see relatives, and I see, even though we only do a virtual thing, I feel like we're still closely connected from afar.
Well, I agree because I see you more than I see my friends that I've been friends with since like age 14. So
that's amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I only wish we lived closer. I'm sure we'd go out to dinner and hang out.
Oh my gosh.
But maybe then we wouldn't like each other because then you get to know the real me.
Well, I don't know about that because we spent time together before in Jersey and those type of things.
Yeah,
and so
we've had
it was
fun.
not a problem to me.
Exactly. And I didn't know that you could rap as well as you do.
Yeah, I can actually, produce a pretty nice Christmas present. Yes.
There you go. So today we have a gift for all martial arts school owners. It's probably worth, in my opinion, tens and tens of thousands of dollars. Depends on how you want to value stack the gift for everyone. Now, please don't shut the podcast off because we're not selling a thing. We're not trying to get you to buy a program or get you to sign up for something. You and I are just giving this away freely to schools to help improve and build the martial arts around the world. Doesn't matter where they're from, what country, what language you speak. What we're sharing right now is something that worked amazing for us, you and I. It originated with your manager and head instructor.
My head instructor, yeah.
Master Bean, right? He came up with a concept, and then you shared it with me. And of course, being me, I had all these ideas, and I'm like, wow, Duane, that's great. Let's do this, this, and this. And we started, you and I, hashing through it all. And last year was our official launch of this particular concept, right?
Well, I did it the year before. So, okay. Yeah, but last year was much better. Right. And I think also because we kind of, did different things back and forth and added different stuff. So what we're talking about is my head instructor, Professor Chris Bean, he came up with an idea, and this was before COVID, about a fictitious celebration. An appreciation, and it was the National Martial Arts Appreciation Month. And so we decided on going, all right, let's do that every September. So every September will be National Martial Arts Appreciation Month, and then we'll have basically a glorified buddy month.
Right.
And so that's where it originated from, and we were going to actually do it in 2020. So we started in 2019 talking about it towards the end of the year. And we were like, yes, we're going to launch it next year in 2020. Well, obviously we could not do it, or it wasn't going to be as good then. So we waited, and then actually 2021, we just didn't do it. And so come 2022 is when we did our first one. And then it exploded from there into 2023. And now, 2024, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think the first one in 2022, we only had about like 60 some participants in it. But I say only, and the reason I say only is because, come 2023, we had close to 100 friends come in that month, as opposed to like 60 some. So there was a huge difference. And so we're looking to, match those same numbers this year.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's not really like fictitious because like there's so many. When I looked up national holidays or holidays on the internet, there were specialty days. There's literally a day for every single thing you could do. Daughter appreciation, son appreciation, cat, dog, chocolate lovers, like it's something for everything. And we are, there's a billion or something, whatever it is, of people that practice martial arts on the planet or have done it at some form in their lives. So why not have a month, an entire month dedicated towards appreciation of the martial arts? And it's not even like you said, buddies. It's not necessarily just that. It's so much more education to our clientele. Because look, when you were younger and I was younger, which was a longer time ago than you were, because I'm older than you, but martial arts was very much ingrained in our society, right?
Mhm.
Like every new movie that was coming out, every 5 movies was a martial art movie in general. Chuck Norris, right? Invasion USA, Top Dog, like all these movies, Karate Kid, Bruce Lee movies, like they were entirely martial art related. They weren't a movie that has martial arts in it, but it was a movie that was based around the martial arts, the philosophy, the culture, the history, the training. So people wanted to be a martial artist, right? Nowadays, if you ask a child or even a parent if they know who Steven Seagal is or Bruce Lee or Jean-Claude Van Damme, most of the kids don't, but even some of the parents don't either. Like this is just not their thing because it's not on. You ask them maybe Jason Statham, they know him, right? But he doesn't do martial art movies. He does movies with martial arts in them.
Right.
Right. So we want to take this time during this month to really educate our clientele on all aspects. And you did great with that. You shared what tell us some of the things that you did at your school to incorporate that.
Yeah. So, first off, the whole concept is we want to obviously bring appreciation and or show appreciation to the martial arts that we all love. And it was a given back in the day when you and I were going up through the ranks that you did show appreciation.
Mm.
When if you went out to a meal with your instructor, like
Yeah.
you didn't eat until they started eating.
Right.
You
Yeah.
didn't, I mean, there were certain cultural things that we don't do anymore. And
Protocols and etiquette.
yeah, and so just those alone allowed us to show the discipline, the respect, the appreciation to the martial arts that I think in a lot of our schools have been lost. And then obviously the way that our society runs today. So
Right.
that first and foremost is, the thing that we really wanted to bring out was like, look, this is why we appreciate martial arts. This
Right.
is, what we have. So we educate our clientele, our students in how, for me, how I came up through the
Right.
martial arts. And your story is much deeper than mine, which
Mm.
I'm a little jealous because, it just allows that culture to be there even more. But
Right.
that being said, I get to share that. So like last year, what we did is I shot a video on my appreciation for martial arts, why I appreciate it, where it came from my original instructor all the way to my instructor now, and different people that have touched my life through the martial arts, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of my students don't know that history.
Mm.
So that in and of itself was neat. Now, this year I'm going to do something similar. I'll overview those events, but I'm going to, do it with a little different spin this year,
Right.
just because I need a fresh video. Can't be the same video that I did
Yeah.
last year.
So
Um, and
so let
then
me
same thing
quickly.
with all of our instructors too. So our instructors all shot videos on why and how they got into the martial arts, what they appreciate most about it, those type of
Right.
things. And then we released those videos on timed, different time intervals to our students. I cut you off. Sorry.
No, I was interrupting you, but at the same time, my question was, I was going to ask you, I said, so do you give them kind of like roughly a topic or that you want your instructors to talk about, or just say, tell me what because sometimes people don't know what to say and they ramble on about things, like, so do you have a guideline, like questions that they should answer or whatever?
I do not, but they have to write out their script.
Okay.
And so then I need to be able to read the script so I can kind of see what they're talking about, that type of thing, and then we record it. And then I actually have an app on my phone that, you know, will show the script. So they basically just read the script.
Okay, that's awesome. I love that, and that's one aspect of them seeing uh, what you do and what you did and what your instructors did. So now the students are learning through the videos about martial arts. And it's all about, honestly, it's all about reverence, right? Like, if people are going to revere you as a teacher, and I think that words like reverence are very confusing for people, but I think it's important for students to really revere, look up to, want to be like their teachers, because it deepens the value of the lessons, right? Like, so for example, if you're a religious person and let's say you're into Christianity, which I know you're very religious, but you don't believe what the Bible says and what people say or what God said or what the preacher or pastor said, then it's all emptiness, right? It's not really going to work for you. It's just, empty words that you're not going to listen to and not take seriously. So, your teacher, you want to look up to them. And if you don't, you're probably in the wrong school. And if you don't, sometimes you probably don't understand what that means. Like you think, like, again, I had to explain this to parents that reverence is not for me or you. Reverence is for the students' benefit, because then
Yes.
if I say, hey, little Johnny, don't drink, don't smoke, don't curse, and they don't respect me, they're not going to listen. But if you come to me as a parent and say, hey, can you talk to my kid about drinking, smoking, and cursing? If they look up to me, they'll listen to what I have to say rather than just go in one ear and out the other.
Oh,
Right.
undoubtedly,
So
undoubtedly.
this is a good point for us to really, teach another aspect of what we're teaching in our school.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that we do to start off the whole appreciation, National Martial Arts Appreciation Month. The other thing is we encourage our students to shoot their own video
Mm,
on why they appreciate martial arts. Now, like
right.
last year, what we did is anybody that shot the video and they had two steps that they had to do. One is they had to post it on their parents' social media and tag our school in it. And then two, we have a link that they can actually upload that video so that we can have it. And
Okay.
so what I did was I gave out a school patch that they could
Okay.
put on. If they wanted to put on their uniform, I let them. If they wanted to put it on their bag to their uh, sparring bag or whatever they wanted to do, but they got one of our logo patches as well. So just as a gift, for doing that. So that was another step just to show that appreciation. And then we developed mat chats.
Right.
So we did like A day and B days, and that was only for the first 3 weeks of the month. So on the A day, we picked a famous martial artist, and then we talked about them and a little bit about their background, who they are, the impact that they had in the martial arts. And then all of them, or I should say most of them, because the ones that we actually did Bruce Lee, we did Chuck Norris, and then we did Jun Rhee. And Bruce Lee, obviously, because he's an icon. Chuck Norris, because one of the styles in what we teach is Tung Sudo. So Chuck Norris had gotten his black belt in Tung Sudo. And then Jun Rhee, because Taekwondo is so popular and it's really like the brother and sister art with Tung Sudo, which I know Taekwondo stylists, a lot of them don't agree with that, and even
Right.
some Tung Sudo stylists don't agree. But look, I
Yeah.
mean, they're both from South Korea. They're just anyhow.
Well, hey, listen, that what you're going through right now in explanation is a big educational thing for the students, right? It's a great story. This
It
one
is.
didn't agree with that one, and this is like that's all educational for people.
Yeah. So and look, we're going to do those three again this year. And we do it on the A day. And then on the B day, we let the instructors, even though that there were videos on, why they appreciate the martial arts, the instructors kind of recap, their appreciation.
Hmm.
So, Professor Bean will have his, and then we'll have Master POTUS, and then probably, one of the other instructors on the third week. Now, come the fourth week for us, and we did this a little bit differently than you, is that's our buddy week. So the last day of the last week of the month is when everybody can bring buddies in. And the reason personally that we do it that way is because the last week of every month for us is sparring week.
Right.
And so this sounds horrible, but while we're working on the curriculum, I don't want anybody coming into class and messing up their class. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Yeah.
And yeah, so and then it'll be right after testing for us, anyways, because on the third week, on the B day of the third week of the month is our belt testing, and then that very next week, boom, is going to be buddy week.
You know what? Also, I just had an idea. You had said that you did the instructors did a video, the assistants did a video, right? The students do one as well.
They have an opportunity, and then we give them a free gift. Yes.
Yeah, and then the parents, and maybe do a contest. This is something that we could add to our PDF. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned it, that we're going to be giving everyone a free PDF on this podcast of the entire layout with pictures and things that we've used and flyers and postcards and so on. But maybe even have parents do a little thing about what they appreciate about what the martial arts did. Basically, we're doing testimonials anyway. That could be used on your website. It could be used on your social media and so on and so forth. And maybe do a little contest. You know, the one who has the best video that got chosen, who got the most views, share it with all your friends, and whoever gets the most likes on their video wins a free private lesson, or, you know, $100 gear package or whatever. Ultimately, the goal is to just get social media pumping.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea. I will say that we do have parameters with regards to that. Is the students need to be in their uniform when they're recording it,
Right.
and when they use the word martial arts, we ask them to use the words TriStar martial arts.
Right.
So when they're saying, you know, this is why I appreciate, you know,
TriStar martial arts.
yeah, this is why I appreciate martial arts at TriStar Martial Arts or whatever,
Right.
but we really
Right.
want to get the name inside of there too. So we have some parameters
Yeah.
that we ask them to do. Obviously, I'm not going to deny it if they don't, you know, use the name. But
Yeah.
the students need to be in their uniform as well.
I love it. So, you know, basically, we're looking to elevate the monthly awareness. It's a campaign to do that. It's a buddy month or buddy week, you know, throughout the month, bringing leading up to your school buddy week. For me in my school, I do buddy days every day for the entire month. They could bring in a friend. And wow, last year I probably had, you know, 70 people, 80 people bring in friends. And you and I came up with the concept of giving out a T-shirt to the person who brought a friend and also to the person coming as a guest for free.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, of course, people like, so I can hear it in my head right now during my coach. I don't want to spend the money on that. Like, that's a lot of money. So we came up with the concept, you and I, of going out and getting corporate sponsorship. We went to our families at school. And I think I just saw something from you that you were looking for that recently on an email that just came out.
Yes.
And you're saying any business owners that want to sponsor our Martial Art Appreciation Month T-shirt, you know, get in touch with us. Click this link, fill out the info. You have already a landing page or checkout page on Spark to do so. And I did that too. And I raised, it's in here somewhere, but we raised over $1,000, and the shirts only cost us like $700. So I actually made money to print the shirts, and now I still have a ton of shirts that for this year waiting to be given out. So the money I raised, I made a profit on, and I have 2 years worth of Martial Art Appreciation Month T-shirts, and I'll be giving them out again. And so for everybody who brings in a buddy, they get a shirt, and their buddy gets a shirt. And that was seriously motivational to the kids, right? Hey, yes. Come in with me karate school. You get a free shirt too. It's going to be fun. And we get their information filled out, and we're able to market. We were giving them a free, at the time in my school, a free month of classes. But I think it was like, now it's 2 weeks, but I think we signed up like 12 to 14 or maybe more, 15 people off of that campaign.
Yeah, we did. We signed up 11. So
wow, so great, right? Like, think about it. Like, so for free, you ended up making, 11 times. Let's say even if you charge $100 a month, that's $1,200 a year, right? And times that times 11 people, that was massive income stream coming in.
And let me go over to for the businesses that decide to be a sponsor for the back of our T-shirts. Mm-hmm. So one is they get their logo on the back of the T-shirt. So that's one. And both, and by the way, they're going to be promoted in both of our locations. So the Bradley and also New Lenox location. And then their business is going to be hung on posters at each school as a sponsor of National Martial Arts Appreciation Month. And then they're going to be represented inside of our app. So, on the homepage of the app, they're going to have their actual one spot where their
Right.
business information will be in there. When they click on it, there'll be an offer that's inside of there that
Wow.
the parents or students can click on and go to their website and take advantage of that. I'm also
Nice.
giving them one push notification through our app so they can give me, whatever offer they would like. We'll set up that, and that push notification will go out to all of our students and trial students or anybody that
That's
has our
great.
app. The next part is they're going to get one endorsement email from me. So we're going to sit down and write the email. I have a template that they're going to follow, but it'll be an endorsement email to my whole list. So that
Nice.
that that email will go out to everybody at my Bradley location and my New Lenox location as
Mm,
well. And
nice.
then they're going to be featured on our monthly newsletter that's online. So every
Right.
month I have a new newsletter that comes out online. We'll have an image on there with, and it'll be clickable. It'll, be able to take that person
Yeah.
to their website. And then social media posting. So Facebook, Instagram, and also X, or formerly known as Twitter.
Right.
We're going to post on all of our social media that they are one of our sponsors. So they're going to get different
Wow.
social media postings. And then I'm going to do a video interview with any business owner that would like to do a video interview. And that interview, I've got just a structural breakdown of, some certain questions about their business, who they are, about their business, how long they've been in business, and what they're looking to do when they serve their clientele, and then how people can get a hold of them with whatever offer that they would like to give.
Yeah.
And we have three other events that we're going to be hosting that they'll be sponsors of. So we're doing a virtual karate tournament. So they'll be sponsoring that. We're also doing a hands-on virtual martial arts seminar, which you and I are doing. We're going to be doing for each
Hmm.
other's school.
Yeah.
So we're going to be pumping ourselves into the school. The students will be at the school. So you're going to have your students at your school. I'll have my students at my school. You're going to teach for a 45-minute class. And then my students are going to get to learn from you. And then right after that, I'm going to teach a 45-minute class where my students are going to follow what I'm teaching, but your
Right.
students get to do what I'm doing.
Right.
And
Love
then
it.
we're also the sponsors will be sponsoring this, but we're doing a free movie night. We're going to be featuring the Kung Fu Panda 4 movie.
Okay.
So all the students will be able to come in and bring their popcorn and water. We don't let them bring anything else. So
Okay.
popcorn and water, and then we actually have a projector where we project it onto the wall, and we got everything pumped through the speakers, and we just have a
Mm,
great time. Because last year we
nice.
did um, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie that just came out.
Okay. Love it. That's
So
great.
that's what the sponsors get. Those are the things that we're hosting inside of that. They're all free events. Unlike you, I did have to chip in a little bit last year for my t-shirts.
Hmm.
I think I probably ended up spending close to $600 of my money because I didn't have enough sponsors like you did.
Right.
But that was still worth it because we signed up 11 people.
Yeah. Well, I had a very generous sponsor and then some other well, they're all generous, but I had one who is a student of mine who owns a rocket company and he's actually builds rockets. And he was like, okay, $500. There you go. It's for you just for saying thank you and supporting us. So like, yeah, you go out there and you get 3, 4, 5 companies and, you make, even if you break even, that's the goal is to pay for your costs on the shirts, right? And that's all that matters. And again, this is like a glorified buddy week, but I really do think that if you take it further and you really do what we said, the video testimonials and what martial arts means to them and the stories, and you talk about the celebrities and the different martial art masters, and not only famous, we think of martial artists and we think of actors and celebrities, right? But we're not talking about like founders of specific styles, like those grand masters that started the system or the history of the system. And I think a lot of the historical data is being lost because people are afraid to talk about it. But I would like to have a student that is very educated. Like it's funny, I'll meet people all the time, and I don't know if you've ever had this where I'll say, they go, yeah, I was a black belt, a second degree black belt. I trained, my whole life. I'm like, oh, who is your teacher? They're like, Joey something. I'm like, you trained for 12 years with this guy and you don't even know his last name. Like he must not have had any impact on you. Although or people just purge information. Like I had a kid train with me for 4 years. I saw him in the bagel place the other day. He hasn't been around for 2. Trained with me for 4, hasn't been around for 2. I said hi to him. He looked at me like I was a stranger. And the parent says, oh, you remember Shihan? He's like, no, I don't. They didn't remember me at all. At all. Like,
Wow.
erased me out of his memory, like, which is funny how kids could just do that. They just
Yeah.
forget.
The other thing too that we did was we created 4 different blog posts last year for just to kind of support what we do, and so we did a blog post on Tang Soo, the originator of Tang Soo and some of the history and those type of things.
Right.
We did another post on jujitsu, and because that's a part of our program as well, and we talked about the different forms of jujitsu and those type of things inside that post. We did
Okay.
another one on kickboxing and Muay Thai. And then we talked a little bit about the history and those type of things. And then we did another one on Haganah,
Ah,
which is that Israeli fighting system.
yeah.
And so, because those are the 4 arts that kind of encompass what we do at TriStar Martial Arts Academy. So
Yeah.
we wanted to, show appreciation to those, but also then educate our clientele with regards to that as well. That just came to mind that that was something that we did too. And the nice
Yeah.
thing is now look, I I delegated a lot of different things. So the author of those blog posts was Master Kent. I didn't author them.
Hmm.
I mean, I read through them before I put them on our blog, and and
Right.
then hit submit to post it. But I didn't author those. I delegated different tasks to different people.
Nice.
So one, so I didn't have to do it all, but two, that they were a part of it.
Right. And another thing that we were doing is, like, we do word of the month in our school, like words like grit or inspire or legacy and strength. And we're incorporating a word of the week. And it's going to be, and we have these nice colorful posters. We print them out on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and we hang them all throughout the school. And then we talk about the actual word, like why is the word inspire? Like in my school, I would say, hey, listen, it's your job as a student to inspire everyone around you. So you have to work as hard as you can, be the best you could be the most respectful you could be. Yes, sir. No, sir. And do everything right so that people are going to want to inspire. They'll be inspired to be like you. You're trying to motivate them to be good and better. And then they're going to try to emulate you because you're working so hard. And hopefully, if everyone's doing that, the attitude of the school is going to be quite incredible. So these words of the week, word of the month, word of the week, these are all very, very important as well, because it gives us another opportunity to do a mat chat, pull them in, talk to them, motivate them during class. Like, for example, I would look at a kid and I go, are you inspiring someone else? And all of a sudden they'd start punching harder, right? Like, because they want to do that. So these little things gives us another opportunity to make martial arts bigger and better than what it is. We don't want parents or students to just think it's just another activity, right? This is a life-changing thing if we sell it right.
Well, yeah, and I would press back on the word sell, although I know what you mean. I would
Yeah,
say if we communicate it effectively,
it's our scheme.
it is our scheme. Yes, yes. But
By the
I think
way,
it's so important for us to us ourselves to look at it like a white belt again and show that
yeah,
appreciation and turn that mirror to our students and say, hey, remember when you were white belt?
yeah,
And their white belt experience is totally different than what our white belt experience was. And obviously, everybody else's white belt experience
yeah.
is different, but you could see different eras in your own school.
Hmm.
Because I can look back at, Professor
Yeah.
Bean, he started with me when he was 11. He'll be 36 next month.
Wow.
And
Incredible.
the era that he grew up in compared to the era now that he's taking other, kids through, totally different experience than what he experienced.
Right.
I had a one-room classroom at that time, and it was 7, 8, 10 kids on the floor. They're doing their kicks and punches. And then, he goes, I can literally remember being sitting on the wall. He goes, I forget which pin on form. He goes, I learned pin on whatever before I even needed to know it because I just sat and while you were teaching, he goes, and this kid, Antonio, he goes, you were teaching Antonio, and I know the last name, I'm just not going to put it on the air, but he goes, you were teaching Antonio and let's just say it was pin on Samdan, pin on form number 3. He goes, and I learned that form before I even needed to know it because I'm
Right.
sitting on the wall, cross-legged, hands on the knees, back nice and straight, and I'm watching it.
Yeah.
He goes, so when it was my turn, he goes, I already knew the form. I mean, I didn't know the movements, like I needed to feel them and
Yeah.
stuff. He goes,
Yeah.
but I already knew the pattern, like I already
Yeah.
understood it. And it was weird because like you couldn't sit a kid on the wall now and have them sit there for 5-10 minutes while you're
No.
working with somebody else.
Well, I wonder if that what you just said is true or is our assumption. Like you couldn't do that with kids now. Or do we feel like we would have a harder time, so we won't do that with kids now? Or would we get resistant from the kid and the parent nowadays? But do we just keep doing it like the old way? Because the only way traditions end is when people stop doing them, right? And then when the mindset of what we like in church, it hasn't, the message might have changed how they speak a little different, like maybe a pastor or a priest or whatever. But I think it's the same message. Am I right or wrong on that? Like they're still teaching in the same manner?
Yes and no.
So what is that?
Well, so the hymns used to be, let's just start out with praise and worship, because most times you have praise and worship, then you have an announcement and announcements, and then you have
Right.
the pastor come up, and then you got the closing. And then so just with praise and worship, that used to be hymns.
Mm.
And a lot of places have gotten rid of the hymns, and now it's all contemporary music.
Uh-huh.
And not only that, some places they darken everything and the lights are flashing and you got all this. I mean, it looks
Right.
like a concert.
Wow.
It looks like a concert. And
So
I'm not against that.
yeah.
And look, I didn't even grow up in church. Like
Right.
I didn't give my life to Christ until I was 23. So like all that church stuff, I did my wife grew up in
Yeah.
church. So she misses the hymns. I miss the hymns just because of the actual depth
Right.
of the hymn. A lot of hymns, almost most of the hymns were all based upon scripture, like
Right.
verses and verses, and then it was turned into a song.
Mm.
Some of the contemporary stuff, it's more, I don't want to say that it's not based on verses,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have the same depth.
So then I guess it's true though, in a way, like even churches to keep their flock, right, or their attendance up, right, the same as a dojo, they've adapted it somewhat to the more modernistic approach. But I just encourage people not to throw away their traditions and what they used to do, or being as disciplined. Because yeah, you might not appeal to every single person, but the ones that do stay, that love the way you run it, if you're hardcore and serious and focused, and you'll get a core group of people that will be like that, and then you will get some others that maybe are not interested.
Well, look, I can tell you that church used to be an hour and a half.
Right.
Right? It was about a half an hour of praise and worship, and it was an hour of the preaching. Now it's an hour in total. So it's about, 25 minutes of praise and worship, 5 minutes of announcements, or, give and take 20, 25 or 25 minutes of the message, and then a 5 minute closing, and that's it. Like,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
it,
Time is money.
well, but not only that, it's just people's attention span.
Well,
I've heard people go, man, he could have said that
right.
in 30 minutes, what he said in an hour,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know?
it's not, the old saying is time is money, but really it's time is life. Like I would pay, like, and I've proven this in many times where I've had a seminar where I've charged more money for less time, and I got more people, because more time for a lesser price wasn't the appeal. It was, let's go and do that seminar with the world famous so-and-so guy that I was bringing in, and less time was good for, they'd rather be there for an hour and a half versus 3 hours, because they have other things they want to do, but they still wanted the experience. But price wasn't the major factor in it. I charged more for less time and got a better turnout.
Yep.
But anyway, so tell me, Duane, like we talked about this and we were able to do this. Let's go a little deeper on the seminar exchange thing, right? So I've done this before already in your school, and you've done it with me in my school, right? And then we had guys in, like our good friend Kenny Bigby, who I don't really hear from much anymore. I miss the guy.
He's busy.
But we had him come in, and actually we had him do a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu seminar on Zoom during COVID. And most people BJJ schools were shutting down because, you have to do it together. He was able to develop this entire system of drills and techniques to do using a medicine ball, or he made what they call the BJJ buddy out of a sweatshirt and filled it and stuffed it with towels. And he was grappling and showing arm bars and all this stuff. But we had him come in as well. And since then, I've had an Adam Lux of Deluxe Karate come in, and I've gone to his school. So it's opened up a new world. So we were doing that as another way of showing people different martial arts, giving them a specialty seminar, something fun, right? And so on. What do you think?
Yeah, and I think like last year when you did when you did that virtual seminar with us, it was a hit.
Mm-hmm.
And then, look, I think the biggest piece to that was we could have had everybody stay home and just got online,
Yeah, not
but
the same.
it is not. It is not. So
Yeah.
bringing everybody in together for another event at your school, even though I'm
Mm.
pumping you in online,
Yeah.
um, still made a huge difference. And then vice versa,
Yeah.
like with this year, I'm going to be able to teach your people as well, but they're all going to be in your school
Right.
enjoying one another and
Right.
learning from a different instructor. I just think that that's going to be, that's
Yeah,
gold.
that's something that before COVID, and we have to thank, the ridiculousness of COVID for this type thing, Zoom and all that. But because I'm still using Zoom every day, we have parents in the lobby in my school on their phones, watching on my cameras on Zoom out in their car. Some of them are setting up their strollers and doing a walk through the neighborhood with our class running on the stroller as they're going. And it's really opened up a whole world of opportunity. Now, by the way, there's so very little amount of students train on Zoom when they're away on vacation, or if they're not able to make it in, or if they're not feeling well, not as many as we did during COVID, where we'd have a packed house. But it's still available, and it still gives them an option. And you know what's cool? Parents can share the link with their parents, the grandparents, if Johnny's going for his belt promotion. We have it Zoomed so that the grandparents in Florida could watch the promotion.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to be able to still share it virtually with them. So yeah, everybody who's listening, definitely that's another. And by the way, just ask a friend that all of you have friends in the martial arts, probably of different styles. Just ask them to do a seminar for you, and you'll do a seminar for them. You both add value to each other's school, you share, and it's a fun event.
Yeah, and look, like Ali said, we put together a PDF file. So if it's something that you want to do, you don't have to do it in September. You can call October
Yeah.
your National Martial Arts
Yeah.
Appreciation Month. You can call it November, like whenever you would, when you would like to make it,
Yeah.
the National Martial Arts Appreciation Month. I would just tell you probably shouldn't do it June, July, or August. But
Right.
other than that, it's in the States anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And by the way, this is a buddy week. It also ties into what we do in our school, which is our referral program. So if they bring in one buddy and that buddy decides to sign up, in my school, we give them a $50 credit bonus. It could go towards their tuition, or they could put it towards gear, or I'll cut them a check. 90% of the time, they just say, take it off my next month's tuition. Right. And then in my school, if 5 people join, they get a year for free. So I give away one free membership for the year, but I gain 4. So that student who referred all their friends brought me in positive net 4 members. And I gave away 2 free years last year off of this National Appreciation Month, Martial Art Appreciation Month. I had 2 families got 5 members each that joined. So I had 10 memberships, and they were hitting it hard. Like they were like, parents are like, wow, I could save money. And some of the parents are great at talking. They're at the bus stop, they're at the school play, whatever. They're the ones you want behind you. So tap into your referral program and make that a part of the reward system based on this buddy weeks. And you did 1 week, but I did the entire month. Whenever they came to class, they could bring a friend. They didn't have to tell us. They just had to make sure the friend's parent came and filled out the form and gave us permission. And we were just bringing tons of people in, I think, and it was exciting too.
Yeah, it is. It's electrifying. Just the energy, out on the floor, and the fun that the buddies have with their friends, and the friends that have a great time with their buddies.
Yeah.
I mean, it just makes a huge difference. And then that experience just as another anchor for your student, even if their buddy doesn't join. And then lastly, I'm going to say this, and we talk about this on a lot of podcasts anyways, but just remember that even if that buddy doesn't join into your regular program now, doesn't mean that they won't do it later. And even if they don't do it later, doesn't mean that there aren't opportunities to communicate to them that, hey, look, we have birthday parties, we have parent night outs, we have summer camps, we have day camps, or whatever other activities that you have that you can pull them back in.
Yeah.
So just realize that they may not become a student right away and or ever, but it doesn't mean that they're not going to have a good experience with you and then come and do another event. Because there are some people, we all know this, there's just people that do not want to do martial arts, but they'll do some events at your martial arts school, and they're going to talk great about your establishment because of the experiences, well, their experience they had there, but if they have any other ongoing experiences with you, it's going to make a huge difference.
And you know what's interesting? A lot of times businesses think that because the person didn't purchase, that means that they don't like the business, right? So they weren't happy with the program or they weren't with the schedule, but that's not necessarily true. There are many factors as to why a person doesn't buy. So like you had said, we could try to sell them into a birthday party and this and that, but we want to develop rapport where, we have a good relationship with Mr. Jones, who's the head fire department chief, right? And, listen, I know you didn't join, that's fine. But if you ever need us for anything, you're doing a fundraiser or you want us to come and run drills with your new recruits or whatever, maybe a guy's a cop, he's, in the area and you want to do a self-defense seminar for them. There's a million other ways to nurture relationships that could turn into other things. Like that person could have contact with 500 people that you may not have been able to contact, that they might not have joined your school. Maybe their kid just didn't like it, but if they like you, they'll refer you. I just had that this week, hey, so-and-so referred me. I'm like, who? And they told me the name. I looked it up in the computer. I'm like, oh, wow, they came last year, but they didn't join, but they referred them to me. Yes. So they must have had a good experience, just not sign up. Yep. Right. So always remember this, like it's just, what do we call that? The spider web, right? All the different webs that are out there. So I hope people like this. We'll put the PDF attached to it, right? How will we do that right on our Martial Arts School Owner Talk website?
Yeah, we can put this with the post. Okay. Yeah, so you would just go to schoolownertalk.com and then boy, I got it. Let me call this up so that I can give you the exact number on the post so everybody can look it up. I'm sorry, I don't have it right off the top of my head.
Well, we'll release on Facebook, and people are hearing this and seeing it. They'll have heard this podcast, hopefully, and on iTunes and YouTube and all that, right?
So yeah, go to schoolownertalk.com, and this will be episode 385. 385.
Okay. Is that insane or what?
A little bit.
Yeah.
We could have had more if we did more per week and we didn't take some weeks off, but hey, over a 10-year period, I mean, who cares, right?
Not bad, right? Yeah. I think it's by far the longest running podcast on the martial art business ever in history.
I do believe we started, if not first, probably pretty first. Yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time kept going. Like a lot of people do it. They go full force. They're out there. And then all of a sudden they fizzle out, because it's a lot of work to do this every week and donate your time and give it for free. People don't realize how much work it takes, but I'm proud that you and I have been able to do it. And I enjoy it. It's definitely like a therapy for me.
It is. And I love having the guests on and those type of things. So go to schoolownertalk.com, look up episode 385. If you are listening to us on iTunes, please give us a 5-star review. It's very, very helpful. Look, there are obviously 384 other episodes that you can research. There's a search bar up there, and you can just click on the search bar and type in a topic, and you can get educated on those topics. Allie, I
Awesome.
appreciate you. Thanks for
Thanks,
putting
Ray.
the PDF together, by the way, because
I'll see. Well, I'm going to send it to you right now to add
yep.
because there's some things that I just added in that we just chatted about that I just need for you to kind of fill in some ideas on.
Okay.
All right, man. Thanks so much. Take care, everybody. Thanks for listening.
All right, bye.
Take care.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Martial Arts School Owner Talk podcast. This would not be possible if it weren't for the support of our amazing sponsors. Please check out Elite Insights for all your website needs. LeadHunterMedia.com, your online digital marketer and content provider. Academy Kings BJJ Growth Consulting and Management Group at GrowMyAcademy.com. SparkMembership.com, hands down the best martial arts software for school owner management on the planet. GetKarateStudents.com, a martial arts growth consulting company for all your systems. AddHealthCoaching.com, helping school owners create a whole nother revenue stream for their school. We will see you next time.